Hi everyone, it's Brett. Candles are cool, but leaving them unattended in an indoor area is probably not a good idea.
Luigi, why are there so many candles in this mansion?
Luigi's Mansion. It was quite a different game for the Mario series. For example, there's no jump button. Oh, and Mario isn't the main character? This game was kind of a bold move for Nintendo to make, and I'm glad they made it. I played this game a bunch when I was younger. I would watch my brothers play it as well, and I would continue to play the game some as I got older. I've had a lot of fun with the game over the years, and now I would like to go back to it once again. Luigi's Mansion would launch alongside the GameCube on November 18th, 2001 in North America. Alright, it's time to go back to the mansion. I really like the opening cutscene. Luigi walks through a creepy forest and takes a good look at his map that shows completely unrealistic expectations for a mansion that he won in a contest that he seems to have never entered. The mansion looks ominous, Luigi is not looking fearless, and crows are watching him. It's a very fun and spooky cutscene. To explain the story further, Luigi finds out that he won a huge mansion and called Mario to tell him the news. The plan was to celebrate at the mansion, but turns out this doesn't really look like a good place to celebrate. Once entering the mansion, Luigi eventually finds a short elderly man trying to catch a ghost. He fails and later says he is Professor Egad. Luigi then goes to Egad's lab and learns that Mario has arrived at the mansion before him and hasn't returned. So Luigi gets some ghost catching training to help him with finding his brother. Luigi then gets to use the trusty, red-colored, and house-cleaning looking vacuum known as the Poltergust 3000. Its main purpose is to capture ghosts, of course. So the training session explains the basics, which is to shine a flashlight at ghosts and vacuum them up by going the opposite direction of where the ghost is going. Simple concept and really fun. Egad also gives Luigi the Game Boy Horror, not to be confused with the Game Boy Color. One function of this device is Egad being able to FaceTime with Luigi. I'll mention the other features later on. After this, Luigi can go back to the mansion shown in this cutscene. This has a foreboding feel to it, with Luigi looking scared and Egad waving goodbye, which gives off the statement of, "Have fun over there, I'll be in my lab." Going back to the room where Egad was met, Luigi is able to take on the orange ghosts. I think these guys are called gold ghosts, but I'm calling these as I see them. It's just these ghosts for this room, which is a good way to start the mansion. The next room has some pink ghosts that have more health and a longer punch than the first one. Next room has green ghosts throwing bananas that make Luigi slip. Kind of annoying, but it gives some variety when it comes to ghost catching. These guys just don't show up again until way later in the game. Anyway, there's a blue ghost here that doesn't need to be captured to complete the room. It's a secret ghost, only found in the dark, that gives lots of money if it's caught. I'll talk about money later. Another type of ghost that can be encountered later on are these hugging ghosts. Their design is okay, but I don't like these ones.
They creep me out. Personal bias, I guess.
There are Shy Guy ghosts, which take an additional step to capture, which is cool. There are bone-throwing skeleton ghosts, which are fun and different. There's ghosts that come down from above, bowling ghosts, and then smaller ghosts like this bomb one that has too much damage range, mice, bats, and whatever these flying things are supposed to be. Yellow-colored mice give out money, if caught. Big blue ghosts that make a shockwave slam show up. These ones make for a new type of threat. I like it. They don't show up until later in the game. It's a more difficult ghost, so it makes sense to save them for later, but I don't think that they were used as much in the late game as they could have. Here's another thing that I didn't care for. The hugging things have two rooms that are exclusive to themselves, where they're invisible. Now they can be seen from their shadow or their reflection, which is very cool and clever, but there could have been a different type of ghost for one of these rooms in my opinion. So I think the ghost placement could have been better in some rooms, but overall the types of ghosts in the rooms is good, and clearing out the ghosts in the rooms is a lot of fun. Though I think the big blue and green ghosts got the short end of the stick here. So after a room is clear of ghosts, the lights turn on and most of the time a chest with a key inside appears, which unlocks a door in the mansion. The map that comes with the Game Boy Horror will open up and show where the key can be used. Keys are an important part of this game because it's an essential element for progression. Also, getting keys is super satisfying. Luigi can comment on things by scanning it with the Game Boy Horror. It's really interesting to read Luigi's thoughts on stuff. Now I can know what Luigi would say if he looked at a grave. You can turn around to see the backside of rooms with the device. I really like how there can be a bit more detail added, even if most players wouldn't see it. The device is also able to scan mirrors, which will teleport Luigi to the foyer. I don't know how this could make sense, but it's a pretty cool feature. The mansion can be interacted with a whole bunch. Luigi can jiggle furniture and stuff, or I guess try to lift it up. Chandeliers can be moved around. Tablecloths can be sucked up, and if you leave the room and enter again, the cloth is back. Well, that's spooky. But why vandalize the mansion? Well, if you like to be financially wealthy, this is what you should do. Money flies out of this stuff so much. There are coins, gold bars, sapphires, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, and paper. Collecting it is so addicting. Toad is in the game, which is cool. Toad is able to turn on lights with nothing but his emotional state. Wait, how does he do that? There are actually multiple Toads in the mansion, but not everyone has this power. Oh, also Toads are able to save the game? Back to the enemies. There's also portrait ghosts. These guys have more health than the normal ghosts, and it's also harder to find their weakness as well. It's possible to scan them with the Game Boy Horror to get a hint on their weakness most of the time. I don't need to use technology to take out these guys though, except for this ghost catching device. Oh, and also this flashlight. Capturing portrait ghosts is more challenging and also a bit more stressful. So pearls, which count for a lot of money, are dropped by them. You can get bigger pearls if you keep your hold on the ghost, and if you drain most of the ghost's health in one go, they will drop a giant pearl. A mini mushroom shows up sometimes, and this is one of the things that scares me the most. If you touch a mini mushroom or get hit by other things, you lose your hold of the ghost. But when you catch one first try, it feels so satisfying. There are a lot of neat portrait ghosts. There's this piano player ghost that likes to play Mario music, which might be fourth wall breaking, but whatever, it's fun. She's kind of funny because she starts off friendly and just begins to hurl music sheets at Luigi when her song she was playing was guessed correctly. 3 wind-up toy ghosts exist, and they each have 100 health. There's this frozen guy in a slippery frozen room with icicles falling down, and he attacks with ice. This guy's got a lot going on. He's definitely harder to catch. Also, quick side note, grabbing the key in this room is funny and fun. Anyway, there's a dog. There's more portrait ghosts as well. There are stronger portrait ghosts known as boss ghosts. Chauncey is the first one encountered, and I like how it starts off. Luigi wakes him up and shoots a ball at him. This is a good training session before the real fight starts. Chauncey makes Luigi small, and the boss arena is in a crib, which is very creative. You have to survive some attacks before you can shoot him with a ball, like earlier. You just can't drain a boss ghost's health in one go. Once the boss is defeated, a cool-looking key is collected, and EGAD calls you back to the lab to empty the poltergeist. The ghosts then go through this contraption that turns them into painting form. These ghosts are put into the gallery, which is also part of the big basement for a shack. The gallery is neat to roam around in. You can see what ranking you got from ghosts here by seeing either a bronze, silver, or gold frame, which is a cool way to subtly show the rating. Anyway, going back to the mansion, you can now open the bottom foyer door. Not too long after, the Boos are found in their vent where they were sleeping, I guess? The Boos basically confirm they are responsible for Mario's disappearance, and this is where Luigi encounters King Boo, the main antagonist. He runs away. So Luigi goes back to the lab and gets the Boo radar for the Game Boy Horror. This thing flashes yellow when a Boo is in a room, and red when close to it. Bit of a flaw to it though, it detects round things in general. Capturing these guys can be fun. They have their own nickname, which is a smart way to make them different. I don't like that they can go to other rooms. It's an alright idea to begin with. It ends up becoming annoying though. I'm constantly hoping that they won't run away. This doesn't help with the fact that their health starts to increase like crazy. I think the Boos were designed like this to pad out the game because it's pretty short and people generally will be disappointed if a game is short, but I don't think players like annoying things either. Also, there's a Boo that is in probably the most hidden room of the game. There were earlier playthroughs that I did where I only got 49 Boos and just thought the last Boo was King Boo. He was not. I was able to find this Boo from accidentally stumbling upon the way to get to the room on the internet. I am a bit conflicted on the placement of this Boo. I mean, sure, it's a good place to hide, but I think it would have been better to put him in this other treasure room that I would say is easier to find. There are elemental metals that can be acquired. I like the sound design for them. There are 3 metals, one for fire, water, and ice. To fill up the vacuum with an element, you have to capture a small elemental ghost. Each one can be used to solve puzzles and fight certain ghosts, which can't be taken out without using a specific element. I really enjoy blasting fire, water, and ice. They look so good coming out of the vacuum, and I think the ice element looks the best. The music is quite well done. There isn't too much of it, but there's some songs I really like. The outside music is a favorite of mine. Most of the songs have a spooky tone to them, but there are some songs that I would describe as not spooky. Luigi being integrated into the music by humming in dark rooms and whistling the same tune in lit up areas is so creative. The sound design, as I briefly touched upon before, is very well made. It really enhances the experience. So there's this boss ghost called Bogmire. He appears once lightning hits the mansion's graveyard. This leads into the fight. He has some shadow duplicates of himself. he has a flat shadow of himself too. Anyway, his shadow buddies can be vacuumed into a shadow ball that can be shot at the actual Bogmire and make him open for capture. I like how lightning will strike the stage. It adds to the experience. That's about it for the boss when it comes to gameplay. I think it's a pretty fun boss, but I think there maybe could have been a little bit more going on. Anyway, now I want to talk about Bogmire's character bio. It says, a product of the mansion's fear and despair. He's not sure who to fear or what to despair of these days. First of all, how is he a product of the mansion when EGAT talks about collecting these portrait ghosts all over the world in the past? Also, how is he not sure what to despair of these days? This mansion appeared a few days ago according to EGAT. Does Bogmire have a bad memory? This didn't make too much sense to me, but I think it's fascinating. Maybe there's something I'm missing, or maybe it's a translation error. This character bio is part of why I like this boss. You can use the screen key that Bogmire left behind to get access to this long section of backyard. So outside, it kind of sounds like to me some wolves or something are making noise in the trees in the distance. If Luigi goes down the well, Mario can be found as a painting. For a long time I had the wrong idea on what the noises outside were. Turns out it was just Mario yelling. Anyway, I don't know why Mario looks low quality. Maybe it was supposed to look like an oil painting effect? After seeing Mario, a ceiling ghost appears, which has a key to progress. Since these guys are mostly found in hallways and don't give Luigi anything to progress in the game, it's not that hard to just ignore the ghost because Luigi can just climb right out. I think it would have been better to trap Luigi in the well until he takes out the ghost. Anyway, Mario's stuff can be found. This makes the mansion a bit less linear, which I like. There's his hat, glove, shoe, letter, and star. I like that a sound effect from Super Mario 64 is used when picking up these items. Could be from the aftermath from this game's development start on the Nintendo 64. Either way, I like how this gives some connection to Super Mario 64 and Luigi's Mansion. While this is all cool, I think it should be called into question how Mario is still seen with his hat and glove in the painting. Anyway, these items can be given to a ghost that purposely helps Luigi out. She tells Luigi something Mario related about each item. She repeats some dialogue, and that can get old on a repeat playthrough, so that's not great. Interesting portrait ghost, though. For some reason, she actually likes being a painting. The mansion itself is pretty fascinating to explore. There are plenty of different kinds of rooms, plus some outside areas. Also, an observatory, which also doubles as a space room. I really like the mansion's aesthetic. It's all dusty and old looking. It has a nice design overall, with all the furniture, carpets, chandeliers, and other stuff. One thing that isn't great about the mansion is the amount of walking you have to do. To go from the start of the mansion to the attic, Luigi has to go through these doors, take a right, walk down this long hall, take a right to this door, open it, go up the stairs, open this door, walk, go down another long hall, go to the stairs on the right, and go up them. And that is how you get to the attic. By the way, that door to the right on the first floor is initially locked. So for my first playthrough of this game, as well as my brother's, we had to instead take a left, walk through the backyard, and go through a room. Later on, when playing the game again, I figured out there was a key in this room, which would have been nice to know on my first playthrough. This is fun to get, but a little obscure. The key should have been easier to find in my opinion. Maybe by capturing the ghost in the room. This is just a side problem though. To fix this walking problem, there should have been a door to the right of the upstairs of the foyer room. Obviously, it would be locked, but a key could have been put in the room nearby on the right side. There would just have to be a minor tweak to the game to make it work. It would have been so perfect to have a door right here. I really want to get rid of some of this solid wall. This is probably the most that I've ever wanted a door in my life. Alright, the balcony holds one of the toughest bosses in the game. I enjoy the detail of the boo radar going off like crazy over the whole balcony. That's a lot of boos. They spin around, then they spin around Luigi, and then I think they spin into the sky. There he is, Boolossus. This boss stressed me out when I was younger. This boss is different compared to the others. First you have to pop him, then you have to freeze the boos, and then you can vacuum them. I mainly don't like that the boos can go outside of the arena, and also I'm pretty sure that I've heard the Boo got iced sound effect, but it didn't count because the boo was out of bounds. I will say, it is a wonderful feeling when I freeze multiple boos at a time. The fight is a cycle of popping and regrouping until there's just one remaining. The fight can be tough when blasting ice constantly, and I still do it out of habit sometimes. You just have to wait for a good time to freeze. Then again, this strategy doesn't always work because the boos just love to run away. So is the fight actually tough, or is it just a bit annoying? Or is it a bit of both? I don't really know. Overall though, this is a memorable fight to me due to the beginning cutscene, cool concept, also emotional highs and lows. Egad actually mentions that he caught Boolossus and turned him into a painting, but the boos freed him and let all the other portrait ghosts free. Yeah, Egad might have been part of the reason for this mess, but I'm trying to figure out how he couldn't catch an orange ghost after capturing Boolossus. Maybe he captured Boolossus decades ago and the boos had trouble tracking their friend down. I don't know what actually happened, but I want answers. Trying to unlock the door at the balcony greets Luigi to the blackout. There's not much to explain here, other than there's a lot more ghosts than usual. I like this because all the areas that were cleared out of ghosts and safe are now inhabited by ghosts again. Anyway, if you go beyond the door, you will eventually find the phone room. It's possible to talk to Toad and Egad. Toad hints to going downstairs to reverse the blackout, but the room down there is now locked somehow. Talking to Egad gives a solution to this problem. Kind of. He says to find Uncle Grimly, and where could he be? He basically says that he prefers rooms with mirrors. Egad, do you know how many mirrors are in this mansion? This is like the second worst clue you could give. The first would be that he prefers rooms with doors. From what I remember, my brothers and I were trying to figure out what mirror room to go to. My older brother was the one playing, and he went to some rooms with mirrors. I think my younger brother and I were suggesting rooms. In the end, I guess my older brother just decided to use the internet to figure it out. I'm sure I would have done the same thing. Of course, Uncle Grimly was in the room that we forgot had a mirror. I get the hint was probably vague on purpose, but I think it should have been a little less vague. Though I guess this sort of thing is subjective. After ghost capturing, the power can be turned back on downstairs. The artist ghost is the final portrait ghost that needs to be dealt with before King Boo. I really like that this is the guy who made the normal ghosts. I would say his art really comes to life. But these are ghosts. There's a gauntlet of ghosts. I think it's fun to get them all in one shot, but I have a lot of disappointment when that doesn't happen. Then the artist ghost gets really angry or something when his art gets put into a vacuum. He can then go where his art has been going. Then the painted chest reveals a non-painted key. With enough boos caught and the spade key collected, Luigi can get to Mario. I like this room because of how fancy it is. It's also cool that the bottom of the well is connected to it. King Boo pretty much has a small speech. At one point he asks if the Mario brothers are fed gullible soup. Wow. Turning Mario into a painting was questionable, but now soup insults? Anyway, King Boo turns the painting into Bowser, goes in, and now Luigi gets to experience what he's been doing to ghosts. The final boss battle takes place on the mansion roof, although it looks a bit different than before. I don't remember all this fire. Anyway, Bowser is here. He breathes fire, he inhales, and he bowls. To find King Boo, a spiky ball has to hit Bowser's head and he will come out of hiding just like the rest of his friends. I like how this robot Bowser head shoots ice while King Boo is outside. Robot Bowser has poltergeist abilities, and I don't think I picked up on that when I was younger. This fight is okay. It's fun and somewhat difficult, but I would have liked King Boo to take Luigi head on. It just seems very confusing to have King Boo use a Bowser machine. There's a whole new villain created for this game, and his boss fight is him controlling a machine Bowser. I get that he's just another Boo, but he could have at least stood out more in the final fight in my opinion. I still like the final fight, and it's awesome that King Boo's crown gets taken by Luigi. So Luigi takes Mario back to the lab to revert him from his art form. It's very fun to see the machine work in reverse. You can tell that Luigi is very glad to see his brother. Mario games don't usually have this kind of emotion, which makes sense because this is a Luigi game. The treasure that was collected throughout the journey went towards a mansion for Luigi. There are ranks, so that makes collecting even more fun. The more money, the bigger the mansion. Some of the lower ranks are actually houses, but that's what happens when you keep making a mansion smaller. Once you beat the game, you have access to the hidden mansion, which is the exact same mansion, but more damage is taken from enemies, and the poltergeist is more powerful, which is awesome. This is a great game, and one of my favorites. Nostalgia might have something to do with that. But this game does a lot of things well, and just the charm and atmosphere to it is really cool. Overall, I'd say this is a fun game and slightly spooky. I want to go back to the candle topic real quick. There are way too many candles in this mansion. It's way too dangerous. That's why I would destroy most of them. Oh no, I just realized that there's a bigger problem than candles.